Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Mossor. That is one of my best friends, David Kahoun, and you're locked into another episode of the Commissioner's Couch Fantasy Football Podcast. Tonight is episode 26 of the show. 26 episodes of, sitting down on this couch. Well, computer chairs, I guess, but you guys sitting on the couch, talking ball, talking fantasy, and building this thing, one conversation at a time. And every week it feels like, the show grows a little more legs, the community gets a little louder and the energy gets a little stronger. And this week, this one feels like a reset button on the entire league, because the 2026 NFL draft is behind us, but free agency is where the league pretty much reshapes itself, I would say. It's where roles change. It's where values swing, and free agency, I think, is where fantasy leagues are won before the season even starts. Last week we talked about the draft fallout, the winners, the losers, we talked about the rookies who landed in the perfect spots, and the ones who are going to have to fight an uphill battle. Tonight we're going to shift the spotlight to the veterans again. The guys who already have resumes, the guys who already have roles, the guys who whose fantasy value, just changed because they packed up a suitcase or their team, maybe shipped
them out.
Yes, shipped them out or signed another player in their spot. Every move matters. Every landing spot matters. Every role change matters. And if you're trying to get ahead of your league this fall, this, I think, is the episode that you're going to want to hear. This is where we're going to separate the noise from the truth. Where we figure out who you actually upgraded and who just, changed jerseys, per se. I think this is where we're going to find the sleepers, the risers, the traps, the players who just became league winners without anyone noticing. So settle in, get comfortable, grab whatever you're going to drink tonight, and let's talk about some new homes and new values, that are shaping the 2026 fantasy football season.
Let's do it. Yes, new homes, new value. We are going to go through each division today and talk through either players that have left to join a new team, talk through what the fantasy implications are for them, or players that may be impacted by free agency this offseason. So strap in. It's going to be fun. We're going to dive in deep here, and it'll be a good time. So, yeah. How you doing, man?
Coughing and muted. Doing good, man. Doing good. Tired, exhausted. Had a very long week. But happy to do this. Excited. So
yeah, same here. I had a long week too. But anytime we get to talk about fantasy football, I'm happy. So I'm happy
for sure.
All right. Well, before we jump in, we have a couple of sponsors to talk about. So the first one, I will play a video.
Nice.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network.
Alley Rose Fragrances.
Thanks, Kyle, for that read. That was awesome.
Yeah. All right. You want to read our other sponsor?
Yeah. Sorry, we went off track there. I was looking for your call to action, but we're cool.
No, you're good.
We are also brought to you by Mossor Moments Photography. We are a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland who specialize in providing the best wedding photos in Northeast Ohio. Check out our website at MossorMomentsPhotography.com. That's MOSSOR, momentsphotography.com. Go and drop that call to action, baby.
Yep, I got you. Hold on. Sorry. I have a puppy down here with me, and she is getting into things, so trying to keep an eye on her.
There you go.
All right. Well, yeah, if you are rocking with us and on the couch enjoying what we're doing, go ahead and give us a follow and subscribe to us on all the socials. We are really everywhere that you're trying to be. So X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure I'm missing a few. TikTok. Go ahead and give us a follow on the Commish Couch. You can find us at the Commish Couch everywhere. You can also find us everywhere that you get podcasts. So go ahead and turn on automatic downloads and subscribe to us there. Leave us a 5-star review because we want to get all this information out there to help everybody with their fantasy football leagues.
Yeah, and we appreciate everyone who has already subscribed. We're getting some traction, and we really appreciate it on all platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of them. As David said, he's got a puppy probably biting his ankles right now. So
Literally what she was doing. So.
It's funny. Sorry, I have a cat that just had kittens, and they're getting bigger. And my sister already called dibs on 2, so I'm getting rid of them.
Oh, nice. Good for your sis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Shall we jump in and talk about new homes, new value?
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. New homes, new value. Mossor, we are going to talk through every division in the NFL, talk through the key additions that they've had for free agency. We're not going to talk about rookies from the draft, just going to focus on free agency. So we are going to start with the AFC, and we are going to start here at home with the AFC North. So
nice.
Let's jump in with the first team that we have on our list, the Cincinnati Bengals. They had some really good key additions this offseason, actually. They did a pretty good job. They traded for Dexter Lawrence, one of the big blockbuster moves this year, traded the 10th overall pick for him. They signed Kyle Duggar. They added Jonathan Allen, Boye Mafe. They've really bolstered that defense. But yeah, I have to ask the question, though. How does this have any impact for fantasy football for the Bengals this year?
I mean, their defense was so bad last year, David. It was historically bad compared to their offense. When they had a competent quarterback in there, it was good. Referring to Joe Flacco and then eventually Joe Burrow. But I mean, obviously, the thing that lacked the most was the defense. So these defensive additions are absolutely, I think, a positive development for fantasy football. I mean, they reshaped the entire environment of that Cincinnati Bengals, defense and how it operates. And I think that matters a ton. For the first time in several seasons, the Bengals aren't asking Joe Burrow to rescue them every single week. Hopefully their defense can finally, stay on the field or get some stops. And I think the addition of Dexter Lawrence was absolutely huge. I don't know how great they're going to be yet. They still have some pieces are for sure missing, but I think it's going to help everyone in general. I think Chase Brown will be better. I think both receivers will be great. So I just think in order to just be a better team, and you have to make that defense better. I mean, it was historically bad. It was one of the worst in the NFL last year, and it
was literally garbage.
It was definitely a handcuff for that team. So
yeah, and I think this is going to have some fantasy implications. I think the defense is going to be a lot better. It's, I think, going to impact the running game for the Cincinnati Bengals the most. I think somebody like Chase Brown may be a huge benefactor of this, because if that defense can actually hold teams score lower points and they can just run out the clock with a running back like Chase Brown, then that's going to really help him in the fantasy game and help him get some really good late game scrimmage yards that'll help boost his points. So I think it helps him the most. I still think it does help Joe Burrow in the long run, because then he doesn't have to just go and do a shootout every week. He can really just focus on actually trying to win the game and do the game plan that the coach has for him. So
not to mention just go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, I think they've had a good offseason. I'll be curious to see how it all comes together, but on paper, they've gotten better. So,
yeah. I mean, and bolstering the defense, I mean, they gain a more dependable weekly for these fantasy players. So think of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins specifically. They will get better field position. So you think that, hopefully they will have better opportunities to get in the red zone. They'll have more efficient targets, fewer games where the offense is forced into reckless, high-risk passing. I think this will just naturally balance the offense as well and just make everyone better, which is what it's supposed to do. So
less tread on the tires for their wide receivers running too. Right. So I agree. All right, well, let's jump into our favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, for the AFC North. They've had a busy offseason. They did really well in the draft, as we talked about last episode. But we're going to focus on free agency and what they did there. Yep. They made some really, really key upgrades to their offensive line. So they traded for Tyvis Howard. They signed Zion Johnson. They signed the 2 Eltons. And so they've really bolstered that offensive line. The only fantasy relevant,
Jenkins, not 2 Eltons.
You're right, 2 Jenkins.
I was like, who's the other Elton?
Eltons. Oh man,
no, 2 Jenkins. Elton Jenkins and Tevin Jenkins. Sorry.
You're right. I'm very confused. But the only fantasy relevant player that they signed in the offseason as a free agent was Tylan Wallace. And even then, the only like fantasy relevancy he might have is in the special team return game.
Sure.
So overall, I feel like they had a good offseason. They did really well, but none of the free agencies that they've signed really are going to have impactful fantasy value moving forward.
Absolutely disagree.
Oh, okay. Let me hear it then.
I mean, no offense, but the Browns came into the offseason with the absolute worst offensive line possible.
Correct. There was nobody.
Unrestricted free agent. So obviously this is going to help the quarterback, the running back, the receiver. It's going to help the entire offense. What they did in this offseason, Titus Howard, Zion Johnson, the Jenkins, not bros, just the Jenkins.
We're just got to call them the Elton.
They didn't have to chase the flashy skill players. They didn't have to go after, Alec Pierce and try to pay him, which I think is insane. First of all, especially there weren't many free agents worthy. Maybe Mike Evans, but he wasn't going to come to the Cleveland Browns. So they did what they could. They completely reinvented this offensive line, and now these rookies are going to be better. I think Quinshon Judkins, when he's healthy, is going to be in a much everything Quinshon Judkins did last year when he was healthy was after first contact. Everything. So now hopefully we have an offensive line that he can get him in an open space or block and give him a hole. And now he doesn't have to worry about first contact behind the line of scrimmage. He can get 10 yards up the field and then make a move. I think this is absolutely some moves that, have greatly benefited for the Browns for fantasy football purposes.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree. I think this would be really good for Quinshon Judkins and even Dylan Sampson in the run game too. I do think whoever the quarterback is for this team really did benefit from them signing a lot of
Taylor Green, baby.
You're doing the eyebrows. I know you're
Taylor Green, baby. I know it.
Oh man, you are not only on the bandwagon for him, you are driving it, conducting it, selling tickets
straight up. Yep, all day. I'm just marching down the road. Taylor Green, let's go.
Oh man, you got to buy his jersey whenever they sell it.
When I win the fantasy league this year, I'm going to. So
okay, perfect. But yeah, I think whoever is the quarterback, they have now finally been set up for success, much better than any quarterbacks in the last handful of years has been. Whether that's Deshaun Watson or my puppy's eating something, I should probably check on that.
Watson or Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. Oh, sorry, I almost didn't laugh that time. Regardless, the quarterback position I think becomes more stable. The running game is going to become more efficient. The passing game becomes more reliable. I think this offense finally has a chance to function like a real modern unit. And I for one, I'm a Browns fan. I am actually very excited about Todd Monken. And to see what he does with this offense and just with this team in general. I for the first time in a long time, I have false optimism with this team. I can see the light.
You
don't
have it every year?
So. Hell no, not since college, man. I'm not going to say they made me a nihilist, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm a Browns fan,
so
I'm masochistic for sure. So
yeah, I do have a lot of optimism going into this offseason. I just hope that they don't try to force the Deshaun Watson experiment on us just to try and redeem that contract. I just hope that they can be like, hey, if he's not the best player or there's not really that big of a gap between him and whoever else, then they just move on and move forward without him.
You had me at the first part. They're not going to move on and move forward if they're close or he's a little bit ahead. That's not happening. Todd Monken gets one shot. He's a head coach. He's in his 60s. He's been coaching for 30 years, and it's finally his turn. He's not going to settle for – and he's going to pick the best player at the position that he believes can take this team farther in the 2026 season and then evaluate after that. But to think Watson's a little better, but Shedeur's close. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Whoever wins is going to win. So, and it's going to be Taylor Green. So,
honestly, I'd be fine with that over Watson. So, all right, let's jump in and talk about the Baltimore Ravens. They've had a lot more people that left in the offseason, more so than they've added. Yeah. But they did bolster that offensive line, as we talked about a little bit last week with their draft picks, which I think should really help the offense a lot, as we talked about with the Browns, because they're going to be able to really support Lamar and Derrick Henry a lot more. You talked about the guard that they signed over the offseason. I'm blanking on his name. But then they paired it with the other guard in the draft. They really bolstered that offensive line. And so I'm excited to see what happens. All the other ones that they signed, I think, were all defensive players, if I remember correctly. And so Yeah, how do you think this will have any sort of fantasy implications for the Baltimore Ravens moving forward?
Yeah, I think you talked about. I mean, obviously the offensive line reinforcement is, I think, the entire story. Your mic is going crazy, but
Yeah, sorry, my puppy is biting my mic.
oh my God. They didn't necessarily chase big name skill players. They didn't, throw a bag at Tyler Linderbaum and let him go. But they focus on the offensive line. I think for this team, that is the most important investment they could have made. Vega Leon, obviously in the draft, was amazing. I'm also blanking on the guard. I think it's from Tampa Bay. I forget his name though, but I don't care.
I think that's right, but I'm going to go look.
I don't know offensive line too. I don't give a crap. Nobody does. Lamar Jackson, has cleaner pockets and more time to operate. I'm a little nervous about Lamar Jackson going into the 2026 season. A little nervous. Ever since he came back from his injury, I personally think, I mean, his I don't have the stats in front of me. I should be more prepared, but I was busting my butt just to get this up. So, but after his injury last year, the run game was ineffective completely. He was nothing in the run game. It was actually really, really bad. And I'm nervous. I don't know if he was fully injured or not fully healed yet, or maybe he had the yips, but it's something that I'm a little concerned with going into the 2026 season with Lamar Jackson, because if he loses that run game element, or if there's a mental block or something, maybe he'll come into 2026 and everything will be fine, but this is something I'm going to monitor for sure. It makes me a little bit nervous. But yeah, they should, the offensive line should be better. That should make the whole team better. So, I don't know.
Yeah, was the Tampa Bay guard that you talked about. His name was John Simpson, 3 years, $30 million. So yeah, it should really help that team. I'm curious to see what also happens with Derrick Henry, because as you mentioned, Lamar not really wanting to run as much last year. I'll be curious to see if the new coaches want him to get back to that, or if they're just going to try and rely on Derrick Henry to carry the run game again, which we saw was not really great for fantasy last year with Derrick Henry. He was very, very up or down.
New regime, though. I feel like they decided to run him at the weirdest times and then bench him at the weirdest times. It was that's why I traded him so early. But I think this gives him cleaner early down lanes. I think will definitely give him more red zone opportunities for fantasy. That's huge. And a chance to wear down defenses instead of being met by three bodies at the line. So I think Derrick Henry is probably the biggest beneficiary of here. Obviously, Lamar would be too if he continues to run like he was, before the injury last year. But we'll see. But
yeah, I agree. All right, let's jump into the last one in the AFC North, and that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They added a couple of good players on offense, so they went out and traded for Michael Pittman, signed to an extension. They signed Rico Dowdle in the free agency as well, kind of helped to replace the Kenneth Gainwell leaving. And then they made some moves on defense and kind of tried to bolster that offensive line, which is already kind of weak anyway. And so that were the biggest moves. I'm curious to see what happens with those two specifically, Michael Pittman and Rico Dowdle, because I feel like the running back room is kind of wide open. They had their best fantasy asset from last year leaving, and Rico Dowdle was a good fantasy asset last year. And so could he step into that role that Kenneth Gainwell left? Possibly. But then Michael Pittman Jr., I'm still trying to figure out what to make of it. I don't love the passing game of the Steelers. Last year, it really wasn't even great. And this year, you're getting an even older Aaron Rodgers or one of these two rookies that have never played before in the NFL. So what's that going to look like? I have no clue. Plus, Michael Pittman has to compete with somebody who is big and fast as well. So with DK Metcalf. So I'm just not sure what to make of his fantasy value going into this year. So what do you think of them specifically, those two, and how would you assess their fantasy value?
Yeah, I first off, I wouldn't count out Jaylen Warren. He was injured a lot last year.
That's true.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell did. In the passing game is amazing for sure. But Jaylen Warren's still there. Caleb Johnson's a non-factor. Rico Dowdle could be their best back. We saw what he did last year in Carolina. We saw what he did as a backup in some starting role with the Cowboys in previous years as well. It isn't as wide open as I think you think it is, but it's pretty wide open, and I'm excited to see what happens. I think if anything, it'll be a two-man split in the backfield, but Dowdle will definitely be fantasy relevant this year. Pittman, I liked the move personally. I think I think he brought the Steelers what they needed. I think a reliable. I think he's a first read target, in an offense. I thought he was great with the Colts. Turns out now he's going to be a second read target, and I think that's even better. So, a physical presence who wins through contact. I think, just a wide receiver who can stabilize the passing game on early downs as well. I think the only thing that is questionable, obviously, is that quarterback room. We have no idea. I have zero faith in Drew Aller. I secretly just love Will Howard and want him to do well. You have
loved Will Howard.
I love Will Howard. So I personally think Will Howard, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, which I think Aaron Rodgers could sneak over to the Cardinals, which would be interesting, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, it's going to be either Rudolph, Aller, or Howard, and I like Howard, man. But I for fantasy football for Pittman, I'm a little concerned. I do think he's a reliable target. I do think he'll be good in the passing game, but how good is our passing game going to be? I have no idea. New coaching, major questions at quarterback, and like I saw a report that the Steelers are completely trying to erase everything that Drew Aller ever learned as a quarterback and to instill what they want him to learn. And I mean, they don't have a quarterback. So So I don't know. Pittman, I think, could do well. I think Dowdle will get his though. So
yeah, I agree. I'm curious. So if we're doing this AFC North pick, if you're in a regular redraft league, standard scoring, would you rather draft one of the Pittsburgh wide receivers first or one of the rookie Cleveland Brown wide receivers first? I'm putting you on the spot here, but I feel like that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know which one I value more now.
I'd have to go Pittsburgh. I mean, as much as I think that these two rookie, Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston will do well in the NFL. There's the offense for the Browns is still questionable as well. They don't have a quarterback, and they're rookies, and so we don't know. I mean, Harold Finn Jr. I think might be the target leader in that offense next year. Obviously Quinshon Judkins is going to get his, and they still have guys like Jerry Jeudy who is going to want to demand targets because he is the veteran leader in that room and is a crybaby and still can't catch the ball. Jerry Jeudy sucks. I don't know. Nonetheless, I just don't think in year one, maybe they will outperform a guy like DK Metcalf, who, he's, is probably got his back up against the wall in that offense because it's not a great offense. He's still a decently good player. I think he's probably a top 20, 25 fantasy receiver this coming year. Pittman might be 30, 35. I just don't know, unless like Casey Concepcion is a volume monster and just is catching everything in the short and intermediate passes. It's probably going to be one of those Steelers receivers.
Gotcha. Yeah. And originally I was leaning towards the Browns in all honesty and taking their rookie upside potential. I don't trust that passing game of that offense.
Yeah.
I feel like everything kind of runs through the run game in Pittsburgh right now. Even if Aaron Rodgers comes back, I still don't trust that passing game is going to be explosive or dynamic and score a lot of touchdowns. And so I think that's kind of where I'm leaning right now.
Sure.
But as we get closer to the season, my opinion might change. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the AFC South. All right, the AFC South, we are going to start with the Indianapolis Colts. They made a bunch of moves this offseason, and they re-signed Daniel Jones. They signed Nick Westbrook-Akini. They signed Alec Pierce to an extension before he hit free agency. They signed Mo Alley Cox back, and they signed Laquan Treadwell. That was pretty much it, though. They really just focused on keeping the band together, it felt like, to kind of keep the offense going. I'm curious to see what happens, though. Is Daniel Jones going to be able to start the year? I don't think he will be. So what does that mean for whoever QB2 is there? Is that Anthony Richardson time to shine and get a little bit of playing time so they can trade him away? I don't know. But I'm curious to see what happens with these weapons. You mentioned Alec Pierce last segment, talking about him possibly signing elsewhere. They stayed home in Indianapolis. What does his fantasy relevancy look like now? And then how are the other veterans there impacted now too? You have not Alec Pierce, the other wide receiver Josh Downs, and the tight end Tyler Warren. What does their fantasy outlook look like now? So tell me what you think of the Colts offense as fantasy football, since they really didn't try to add anything, but just kind of keep it all together.
Yeah, I mean, they thought clearly the best path forward was continuity, not reinvention. Not really chasing new toys. I said earlier, I don't agree with the Alec Pierce signing. I think that is absolutely absurd for a guy who really didn't show much in his career so far. A guy that just 2 years ago was literally on in our dynasty league on Kevin's practice squad. You can sign him. He was going to send me a second round pick if I just took him, and I said no, he sucks. No one wanted him, and now all of a sudden he's that's what's crazy about fantasy football is in 2 years a guy who is absolutely dead to the league could be very valuable, and now signing huge contracts. That's insane. Yep. It's all about opportunity. Yeah, but I don't know. I think Josh Downs is going to eat. I think Tyler Warren is going to be a top 5 tight end this year. That's my Pookie. I love him.
Pookie.
I just they kept the system intact. They keep the roles defined. I think Daniel Jones, if coming back healthy, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL last year. He was
very efficient.
He was a top productive. 5, top 10, quarterback. It was crazy. He had many, QB1. Weeks, which is insane.
Yeah.
I think with the same receivers, the same tight ends, the same structure around him, that's just going to continue that continuity. It's going to, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think the coaching staff, will continue to value rhythm and timing. And that's going to work well with this offense. I'm excited. I think that, sometimes just staying put and doing nothing might be the best thing. Obviously, their first round pick this year was Sauce Gardner with that trade. So I'm happy with it. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm happy and fine with them keeping the band together. I wish they would have done like something a little bit more than just Laquan Treadwell, the wide receiver. Maybe
first round pick, Laquan Treadwell,
the old man, Laquan Treadwell. I just wish they would have done something a little bit different because you're putting a lot of eggs in the basket of Alec Pierce and Josh Downs, who are good. And I think I'm higher on Pierce than you are.
Give me Josh Downs all day, baby.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what that looks like if those two don't pan out. Who's going to step up then at wide receiver? Is it just going to be Tyler Warren show moving forward? And then I'm also curious what the depth behind Daniel Jones looks like if he's not really able to start the year. And are they able to hit the ground running? Or are they going to have to take like 4 losses in a row to start the year before he comes back? So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm bullish on them overall. I like what it looks like. I like the outlook. I'm going to be targeting some of these wide receivers and that tight end, Tyler Warren, in drafts. But overall, I do have some healthy concerns as well. So
not to mention they have Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the NFL. So
that is true. Jonathan Taylor is very, very good. Sorry, my puppy.
I hear it. Fine.
All right, let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had a crazy free agency period this offseason. The Jacksonville Jaguars lost a huge part of their offense, Travis Etienne. We'll talk more about him later when we talk about his new team. But they kind of tried to patchwork losing him overall, and they signed Chris Rodriguez, Amir Abdullah, a bunch of defensive players, but they really didn't feel like, in my mind, do anything to address the offensive hole that's going to be left from Travis Etienne. Obviously, they still have Tanks Bigsby, but what is that going to look like moving forward? Who's going to be the main wide receiver in that offense? I have lots of questions more so than answers, and so tell me what you think. What is the Jacksonville Jaguars fantasy outlook for this year after free agency?
I am pretty high on Bashal Tutin, actually. I think, very fast running back. We'll see. I mean, they invested in him in the draft last year. What was it, second round?
I think third
round. Yeah, sure. Nonetheless, day 2. And I think he'll be the lead back. I think Chris Rodriguez could eat up a little bit of red zone targets. I actually like the sign of Amir Abdullah, especially that dude's been in the NFL forever. That's crazy.
He has been.
That's crazy. So good for him. I mean, obviously losing Travis Etienne, that's not great. And there are questions with Bashal Tutin, especially since he didn't have major stats last year. But I do like the player. I think he's got good hands, and I think that he's very fast as well. So
yeah,
we'll see. I am questionable a little bit if there might be a running back committee. Obviously, like you said, they don't have a star yet, but a star may be born. But until then, they're just going to try to, throw bodies in the room and see who's going to be the guy, In terms of the passing game, I think Trevor Lawrence did great last year. He honestly, I thought he was done. I thought he was maybe the next Tua, maybe the next, Bryce Young until he started doing well as well. But, just another guy who was, first overall, who is nothing, but he proved me wrong last year. And that was after Brian Thomas Jr. had a major setback year after being a top 5 fantasy receiver his rookie year. They had Parker Washington. They brought in the dude from the Raiders, blanking
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers, that's right.
Got you.
Yep. Bretton Strange, who I think is a good tight end, who was injured half of the year last year, and Trevor Lawrence still did well. We don't know who that wide receiver 1 is. I would personally expect it to be Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, this is the year either he's going to step up back into that role or he's going to take a seat back and just never look at it again, at least on this team. There are a lot of mouths to feed, but the offense was pretty good last year. I think Travis Hunter also, I don't care what anyone says. Travis Hunter is going to play receiver, guys, and he's going to play it well this year. And I think he's their most gifted receiver. I'm sticking to that. I don't care. I do have questions, about, versatility, durability, and just, stamina and playing both sides of the ball. But, Liam Cohen is going to play him in the offense because he's a versatile player who gets open, has great hands. It's going to happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. Last year, Trevor Lawrence was really, really good. This year, I am not buying him at all. In fact, I would probably stay away from buying him. I do not trust the passing game of this offense. I feel like last
year
has
changed?
They relied so much on Travis Etienne. Like that's what I think changed. He was a huge piece of that offense. Without him, I think that offense is going to be clunky and very just not explosive.
I'm talking just about in the offense or the passing game, excuse me. But I don't know. I guess maybe the running game will affect the passing game. I just don't think it'll be that much because I like I said, I'm a fan of Tootin. I think that he will step into a bigger role. And we'll see, I guess. But yeah, I think it will all hinge on that running game. I'm just a little higher on that running game than you are. So that's where we're at right now, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into the Houston Texans then. In my mind, they had honestly one of the best off seasons.
I agree.
They did really, really well in free agency. They added key pieces like David Montgomery, Foster Moreau. They added depth at the offensive line with Wyatt Teller.
Mm-hmm.
They re-signed Dalton Schultz. Thank you. So I was thinking Tyler Warren from the Colts. The Texans, I feel like, had one of the best off seasons, and this is now a make it or break it year for CJ Stroud. Like, it's time to put up or shut up. You've got the good running back now. You've got the refortified offensive line. You still have the weapons around you. What can you do? And he's been successful, but let's see him get over the hump and try and push for a Super Bowl. That's what I feel like the Texans' goal is this year. And so overall, I love this offense when it comes to fantasy football. What are your thoughts? What are your takeaways from their free agency offseason?
We'll see about the offensive line. I still have questions. Obviously, Wyatt Teller might have. I mean, last year he was benched at times because for unknown reasons from the Browns. I would say. I mean, okay. I don't think it was because of play. I think it was maybe because of Kevin Stefanski's an idiot, but I digress. Nonetheless, we'll see because, as bad as the Houston Texans offensive line was last year, they're trading away their good offensive linemen. Taven Jenkins to the Browns. Nope, that's not right. Titus Howard to the Browns, excuse me. So I guess we'll see. But, I mean, the addition of David Montgomery, he is RB1 from day one. He's going to be, physical between the tackles, reliable in short yardage situations. He's going to have pass protection that's going to keep CJ Stroud clean, I would say. And I think a skill set that complements, the explosive passing game. CJ Stroud looks like he has lost fat and gained muscle. He looks like he looked like a baby the last 2 years. Now this dude was looking like a man. So yeah, he's taking it seriously. I personally think CJ is going to have a huge year this year. I think he might be top 10 quarterback. I think this offense is going to switch, flip a switch, and it's just going to work, man. I think they have a lot of good receivers. We'll see what happens with a guy like Tank Dell as well, maybe coming back. So maybe just adding on more. But Jaden Higgins looking, I'm looking for him to take a huge step forward in year 2. And obviously Nico Collins is still a top 15, top 20 receiver with major upside still. So I think the addition of David Montgomery is going to be huge for this team. Everyone's got to stay healthy, but I think CJ Stroud is going to have a huge comeback year.
No, I agree. And I feel like the running game was what they were missing last year. And now that they've got it in David Montgomery, the sky is really the limit for this offense. And so I'm really excited about it. I think when it comes to draft season, I'm going to be targeting a lot of Houston Texans players. And I'm probably going to have CJ Stroud a lot higher than most people. I have him on their board. So I'm excited about it. Overall, I think it will be very good for the Texans this year. So let's bring it to the last team in the AFC South. That would be the Tennessee Titans. They got new jerseys. They got a new logo, looking fresh and clean. And they've got some new additions from the draft this year and from free agency. So additions, they signed Wan'Dale Robinson. They signed KJ Osborne. So again, really bolstering that wide receiver room and then adding another first-round draft pick to it. They added some running back depth in Michael Carter. They signed a backup QB in Mitch Trubisky in case Cam Ward misses any time, which I kind of like that a little bit. And they got a new head coach. And so overall, there's a lot of change. But the big question that I have, which I want to hear your opinion on, is how does this help Cam Ward grow from year 1 to year 2?
He's got more weapons, and that's the main thing. I mean, he year 1, he had an injured bum in Calvin Ridley and rookie Alec Aeminer. And then, Chig Okawakwa was the tight end. And that was pretty much it. I mean, this guy was thrown out there with the D squad. Now he gets Wan'Dale Robinson, who is a good wide receiver too, I think. I mean, he brings size, speed, a true outside presence, and a target who can win down the field. I think with for Cam Ward, that's going to be huge. Like I said, they had to really, really manufacture every explosive play last year, for Cam Ward. And I think now they have a receiver who can create, one on his own. You saw what Wan'Dale did, when Malik Neighbors was out and his name was actually called upon finally. KJ Osborne, adds, I think, professionalism, stability as well. I just think this team is a lot better, a lot better. Not to mention, we're not talking about rookies here, but Carnell Tate's my wide receiver 1 in the draft. I know he's not yours, but nonetheless, I mean, wow, I think it's looking really, really good right now for Cam Ward. So
yeah, I agree. I think it does look good for Cam Ward too.
Nick Singleton, ooh, sorry,
we're not talking rookies.
Shut up, Brian.
No, I agree with you. It does look good for Cam Ward heading into year 2. I'm curious to see what the offensive line looks like under this new coach. I'm curious to see what the defense looks like too, to kind of help alleviate some of that pressure from Cam Ward, to not put everything just on his shoulders, help him out when he makes a mistake, stuff like that. And so, yeah, overall, I think there is a path for a lot of success and a lot of explosive plays for Cam Ward, but I'm going into it a little bit cautious, a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more conservative than I think most people probably are about this offense. I'm still not too sure what this running game is going to look like. I'm still not too sure what this offensive line is going to look like. Yes, there's weapons there, but is he going to target Carnell Tate a lot? Is he going to target Wan'Dale Robinson a lot? I don't know. Is he going to try and spread it around a lot and make a lot of plays with his feet and just sling the ball all over the place like he did last year? Maybe. So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm a fan, but I'm also not just necessarily leading the bandwagon just yet. So
Carnell Tate is wide receiver 1 in that team. He was drafted 4th overall for a reason. He's wide receiver 1, David. He is.
Hey, we talked about this every week. I like Carnell Tate a lot. He's my wide receiver.
I'm tired of you hating on my dude, man. I'm tired of you hating on my dude Carnell Tate. Okay.
I'm not hating on him. I'm just hating on the landing spot for fantasy. That's it.
All right. Let's get into this ad.
Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Hey everyone. This is David from the Commissioner's Couch podcast. Fantasy football fans, you found the #1 destination for all the officially licensed football gear you will need this NFL season. The NFL shop from Fanatics.com features sportswear and accessories from brands like Nike and New Era, as well as NFL coolers, so you can head to the tailgate repping your team. If you're looking to add to your collection of tailgate gear, you need to check out our grilling items and coolers. With official player jerseys, polos, and hats, we've got enough gear to keep you repping your favorite NFL team throughout the whole season. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on the screen right now to celebrate your fantasy football teams. Again, that's fanatics.com, or use the QR code on the screen to buy all the gear you need to rep your team. Good luck.
Good luck.
All right. Well, let's jump into the AFC East, shall we? All right. So let's start with the Buffalo Bills. I know you're excited and drinking your coffee about it, but
Water.
they had a pretty good offseason too. They got a lot of good depth for their offensive line. They added more key pieces to their defense, and they made one of the bigger, I think, splash acquisitions of the offseason with DJ Moore now joining the team. What do you think of that, first of all? DJ Moore joining the Bills. Good or bad for fantasy?
Good. He gives the Bills a true number one again. I think they've been searching for a wide receiver who can win without needing, the scheme to carry him. And I think DJ Moore gives them that. He's going to bring, strength at the catch point, separation ability on all three levels, reliability receiver on third down, a physical presence that, defenses have to, respect. I really, really, really like the addition of DJ Moore. So,
yeah, I agree with you. I think it's kind of weird because DJ Moore, his NFL career path has had somewhat of a similar feel to it as Amari Cooper. And I feel like when Amari got to his third team, he was really, really good as a wide receiver, and also in fantasy because he was the main wide receiver there. And so I feel like now DJ Moore's kind of entering that Browns Amari Cooper phase of his career with the Buffalo Bills and could be really, really dynamic for fantasy football, being one of the only key pieces in that offense. I still like Shakur a lot too in that offense, but I think DJ Moore being the wide receiver one will be really, really good for him. So,
man, when you say Amari Cooper and talking about Bills, they have a little bit of fear and PTSD of Amari Cooper going to the Bills and being absolute trash. So
correct, but Amari was also on his back nine there, and I feel like DJ Moore is not necessarily there just yet. But
getting there, 29 years old.
True, but I do feel like he's got at least another 2 to 3 years left in him. So
I can see that.
But yeah, as the offense overall, how do you feel about this moving forward? This has been historically one of the more sought after offenses in fantasy football drafts. Do you think that that'll still be the case moving forward or no?
I mean, yeah, they have a top 5 running back, a MVP caliber quarterback, a wide receiver one now, promising tight ends. I think Josh Allen's the one obviously that benefits the most right now.
Yeah.
I mean, adding DJ Moore gives him, a first read option who gets open quickly, a receiver who can win, when the play breaks down, and a target who can turn, short throws into long gains. He's needed a wide receiver one. They've been trying for a while in the second round to get a guy. Maybe Keon Coleman was the guy. Nope. And finally they have a proven wide receiver one. So Josh Allen, first and foremost, is the beneficiary for this. Yeah, Stephon Diggs was good, but this guy's reliable. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I said Diggs, but Diggs was on the Patriots last year, but it still fits because Stephon Diggs did play with the Bills. So excuse me. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I really like the additions of DJ Moore. I think that who else did they add? They added a lot of offensive line too. That's obviously going to help the run game. That's going to help Josh out as well. Yeah. So overall, I think that this team is close. And the biggest criticism for a long time is who the heck is going to catch the ball and be that dominant receiver for Josh Allen. And I think maybe they finally got their guy. So.
Yeah, hopefully they did, because this offense, that was the literally only thing that they've been missing. And so I feel like this offense is still something that a bunch of fantasy players are going to want to target moving forward in drafts. Go and target DJ Moore if you're able to trade for him in dynasty leagues, if you're trying to compete for a win championship, or if you're not and you're like me trying to rebuild, maybe sell a DJ Moore to get some draft capital or some younger players.
I think DJ Moore is a great sell candidate, by the way.
Oh, I agree. Yes. But yeah, I think overall this offense should be really, really good, really explosive, scoring a lot of touchdowns. And if you're able to get a piece of it, that's great. So yeah, let's jump into team number 2 from the AFC East. That would be the Miami Dolphins. They've had somewhat of a crazy offseason. They signed their franchise quarterback, Malik Willis, paid him a huge contract. A few weeks later, they traded away the wide receiver one for Malik Willis, Jalen Waddle. And then they signed in players like Tutu Atwell to kind of help replace that. Bolstered some things in the defense, and then signed a kicker in Zane Gonzalez. And so I guess my biggest question for you, Mossor, is what is this team doing?
Nobody, I don't know. Nobody knows.
It doesn't make any sense. You bring in this franchise quarterback in the free agency to try and compete, then you ship off all of the pieces that you have for him to be successful with away, and he's just kind of left by himself. I don't know what to make of it.
The real issue is, no additions to help the core of the offense. I mean, they needed offensive line help. They needed a wide receiver or two that wasn't a rookie that tore his ACL just a few months ago. Maybe an RB2 can handle volume. I mean, maybe they have somebody like Jalen Warren, or not Jalen Warren. I forget his name, Jalen whatever, because I forget his name because he's
Jalen Wright.
Yeah, Jalen Wright. That's how much he sucks and irrelevant it is. Or Ollie Gordon or something like that. They need a tight end who can threaten the middle of the field. It's hard. I feel like we should do this episode, David, next year before the draft.
I agree. Because
it's hard to pretend like the draft didn't happen right now because, obviously they haven't, so I don't know. And they needed stability around the quarterback, and I feel like they just failed on most levels there. So I have no idea what the offense is, what this team is doing in general. I mean, obviously Devin Achane is going to be the heart and soul of this team, and is that going to be great for him or bad for him? I don't know. Is it gonna hinder his value because he's relied on so much that defense are just zoning in on him? I have no idea, but they have no weapons right now, and it's concerning. So
yeah, I agree. It is concerning. I do think Devin Achane is the only viable piece of this offense that you should be going after. I think he's worth still a first-round pick in redraft leagues. Everybody else, I'd kind of take some late flyers, and if they're falling, I would maybe scoop them up. But, yeah, I don't know. I've got lots of concerns for this offense moving forward and what the fantasy outlook is. But that brings us to our next team that I also have concerns on, and that is the New York Football Jets. They made a bunch of changes this offseason. They signed Geno Smith. They did a lot of things in the draft. They signed a kicker, Cade York. And then the rest of their free agencies are really all defense, trying to bolster up that defense. They made a lot of changes and had a lot of people leave off of it last year. So it feels weird to me. I'm finding myself trying to buy into the hype around Geno Smith. A couple years ago, he was a really good fantasy target when he was with the Seahawks. And I feel like I'm starting to get into the mindset of, you know what? He could be that again in the New York Football Jets. He's got some wide receiver options. He's got a new tight end. I can kind of see it. I'm trying to not let myself fall into that and trusting that mindset. And so I don't know where you're at with the Jets, but that's where I'm at with it all. Trying to not fall into that mindset of trusting Geno Smith.
Yeah, I'm not trusting Geno Smith at all. I think Garrett Wilson will get his own. Breece Hall obviously just re-signed signed an extension and cried and did all that stuff. Whatever, cool. Geno Smith, he's not a bad quarterback, but he's not the savior either. He's a bridge. He's a placeholder. He's a guy that keep the offense functional option. He brings experience, some level of competence, a relative steady hand. I know there's some turnover concerns, but is that because the Raiders suck? I don't know. But he does not bring, stability long-term, a ceiling that elevates the offense, or, the kind that's going to unlock most fantasy stars. I think this is the move that you make when you're trying to, build a team for the future. This
Agreed,
is a move when you make, that you're just trying to survive, keep your head above water. Cade York, this is the second time we talked about former Browns kickers in the last, which is insane. But if you're a Browns kicker or you're a former Browns kicker, you probably suck. We'll see what Andrew Smythe has, but I have no hope in Cade York. I've seen him. He's garbage. He has, he does not have that dog in him. Yeah, there's a cool photo of him at LSU kicking in the fog, but there must be fog in his brain because he's garbage. So
that was good.
Thanks, bro.
I agree with you. I feel like Geno Smith is good enough to where you can evaluate decisions for the future, whether that be evaluating wide receivers, evaluating tight ends in the passing game, but he's not good enough to really carry an offense. And so that's where I'm trying to figure out my fantasy tolerance of him right now is, can I tolerate Geno Smith being my QB2, QB3 on a team? Maybe. I don't know. Do I trust him? still probably not.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing that they added Kenyon Sadiq, they added Omar Cooper Jr., they added these pieces that theoretically should help this offense, should help him. But I mean, until I see it, see concept of proof that he's actually going to be good in this offense, I'm not touching him. I'm not. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump into the last one for the AFC East. That would be the New England Patriots, the team that was in the Super Bowl and choked last year. So they've made a bunch of moves this offseason. They did a lot of things to help out their defense, really bolstered that up a lot of thought. They helped with their offensive line, signing Elijah Vera Tucker, a very seasoned quality offensive lineman. And then they made a move and signed Romeo Doubs, a big body wide receiver who's been pretty efficient in his time in the NFL. Maybe not a fantasy football superstar, but still somebody that has been relied upon for some flex spots and stuff like that. And then there's the rumor out there that they're going to trade for A.J. Brown. And so I guess, what do you make of the Patriots off? Yes, really, there's rumors of that. What do you make of the Patriots offseason? Do you feel like this is going to help bolster that offense and help them in fantasy football, or kind of just be like, hey, they're going to be maybe the same as last year?
I mean, yeah, Romeo Doubs is a nice addition. I think he's a steady receiver. Might go in there right now as a wide receiver 1, but is probably a wide receiver 2. Nonetheless, he's reliable and was a great part of that Packers offense for many years. Elijah Vera Tucker is a massive upgrade for them. I think that was the main concern for them even in the Super Bowl was offensive line and stability. I know Will Campbell was injured a little bit and played like garbage. So Vera Tucker will help in the inside a little bit. I just think bolstering the offensive line in general was beneficial. The A.J. Brown, obviously, I think A.J. Brown is going to become a Patriot. I mean, it's not even a secret at this point. I mean, everything that they've done toward this offseason, I think, is pointing towards that for sure. I mean, they added a complimentary wide receiver in Romeo Doubs, not a star. They upgraded the offensive line to support a high volume passing attack. They built a defense that can support a playoff push and a late playoff push. And I think they have the draft capital to make the move as well. So, I mean, and not to mention the connection with A.J. Brown and Mike Vrabel. I've mentioned this before, but they were very close when A.J. Brown was at Tennessee and Vrabel was like, and I think that come June 1st, he's going to be a Patriot. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think this has been a good offseason for the Patriots. I'm excited to see what happens. I feel like Romeo Doubs makes the floor of the wide receiver room for the Patriots a lot higher than what it was. And I feel like A.J. Brown would just take the ceiling of that wide receiver room even higher. And so
I agree. I mean, last year there was just a mix of, I think, a lot of wide receiver 4s in that team.
Yep.
And they made it work. But now right now you have a solid wide receiver 2 and a bunch of wide receiver 4s. And if you get A.J. Brown, then you have a 1, a 2, and 4. So that obviously is a much better team. So
yep, I agree. All right, well, let's take a quick break and then we'll jump into the AFC West. All right, the AFC West, we've got the Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Raiders. Let's start with the Denver Broncos.
Let's do it.
I feel like the main thing to just talk about with this is Jalen Waddle, all caps. This was their main move of the offseason. Yes, they re-signed some running backs. Yes, they re-signed some offensive line and defensive players. But this was the big splash play that kind of shook the whole NFL world this offseason. Jalen Waddle traded to the Broncos. I think it's a great move for them. They, I think, now have a very rare, very robust wide receiver room. And this offense should be really, really dynamic. So what do you make of the trade for Jalen Waddle, and how is the fantasy outlook for everybody on that offense?
I mean, Jalen Waddle changes everything in that offense, to be honest. I mean, he's not just a fast player. I think he is a stress test for every defensive coordinator in the league. His presence forces defenses to back up, to widen out, to honestly respect every blade of grass. He brings game-breaking speed, instant separation, a threat to score pretty much from anywhere, and a player who demands safety help on every snap. For fantasy football, this means that the Broncos finally have a true centerpiece wide receiver who can deliver weekly starter value with, real ceiling games. And, there was hopes that maybe Cortland Sutton could be that guy, maybe Marvin Mims, maybe Troy Franklin. Nope, it's Jalen Waddle now, and he's there to stay. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very excited to see what he looks like in that offense and I guess how he helps open up everything else. And so let's talk about the run game, though, for a minute in that offense. Who do you think is going to be running back one for this offense? Because they re-signed J. Dobbins. They re-signed what's his face?
Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. They drafted another running back. They still have
RJ Harvey.
Yes, exactly. So it's very crowded. I don't know what to make of it. What do you make of this running back room?
It's stupid. It's dumb. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, I love J.K. Dobbins, but he can't stay healthy. When he is healthy, he's great. RJ Harvey, when J.K. Dobbins was out last year, who is a former second-round pick of last year, played well, I thought. I mean, not great, but well. Then Jaleel McLaughlin was a change of pace guy the last few years, and now they drafted somebody in Jonah Coleman, who, coming into the draft, was my RB2. But I hate the landing spot. So I have no idea. I think the running game, I think, if anything, Jalen Waddle's arrival is going to put pressure on the running game. I mean, when you add a player like Waddle, the offense naturally shifts towards the passing game. That means that I think they're going to be more three wide receiver sets, more spacing concepts, more quick hitting throws. And that means that there's going to be even less volume for these running backs. So it's a crowded room, which I think with design is going to be less volume, especially with the addition of Justin Jolly. Don't talk about rookies, but that Joker position. Oh my gosh, I'm salivating for that. But yeah, I have no idea right now, man. I mean, it's close your eyes and throw a dart at this point. It could be any one of these guys. So or all of them, and you don't want that either. So
correct. Yeah, it's going to be very much a committee, I think, and for that reason, I'm not really targeting anybody for this fantasy relevancy. I think maybe the best route is to just start the season and see who kind of gets the hot hand early and maybe try and ride with that. But I feel like it's going to be week to week. Whoever has a hot hand will kind of take the carries. But yeah, let's jump into the Chargers. They made a bunch of moves this offseason as well. They signed Tyler Biadasz, signed David Njoku, who I think is going to be really a good addition for them. And then they signed Keaton Mitchell and took him away from the Baltimore Ravens. So glad you took him away from our division. Yeah. But yeah, I guess the big question that I have this year is, can you trust this offense for fantasy football?
The Chargers offense? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you trust them? Because I feel like last year they came out to a very hot start. And then towards the end of the year, I feel like they kind of fell apart.
I mean, but respectfully, you have to look at the conditions.
Sure.
I mean, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, both tackles, out for the year. Omari and Hampton out for most of the year. I mean, they didn't have most of their offense in general. I think that they have great receivers. I think they bolster their offensive line. I think that the tight end room with David Njoku and Oronde Gadsden, don't count him out yet. We'll see. But obviously, Njoku's looking for a season where he could benefit and go into a contract year next year. Obviously, 1 year, $8 million with the Chargers this year. But yeah, I like everything that they did personally. I think you can trust them. I think Omari and I'm in love with Omari and Hampton.
Interesting.
I think Keaton Mitchell is going to be that 1-2 punch that we thought maybe Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell was going to be, but then Keaton Mitchell obviously got hurt. Now we got a young Derrick Henry coming up, baby. I'm not calling him.
I'm with you.
Not Derrick Henry, the guy who had 15,000 yards in high school, but it's going to be a beast, especially in the passing game. I like this offense. I think the only question is maybe wide receiver 2. Obviously, Quentin Johnson is the front runner, maybe even wide receiver 1. I have no idea because his play is so up and down. He played so great the first, top 5 receiver at the beginning of the year, and then dropped off a cliff. Keenan Allen was there as well, but then now they have Brendan Thompson.
They drafted him, and then they also drafted Trey Harris last year as well.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of guys there. We'll see who's the wide receiver 2. I think Ladd McConkey is going to be that wide receiver 1 for that team. But I think this offense is going to be good this year. So I like the quarterback. I think, if anything, I have questions about the receiving room, but we'll see. So
Okay, fair enough. I will be honest with you. I'm finding it hard to trust them. I feel like every offseason, the last 3 years or so, I've always talked myself into, the Chargers are going to be really, really good this year. They're going to be a very dynamic offense. Justin Herbert's going to lead the league in passing, yada, 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 yada. And every year I feel like I get let down. I do like the David Njoku addition. I feel like he's a really good tight end that Justin Herbert's never really had in his offense before for him. And so I think that's going to be really good. I like the Keaton Mitchell addition actually a lot. I think he will probably take some carries away from Hampton because I think he's that talented. But overall, I'm more so just a little bit, hey, you've burned me a couple times. I don't know if I can trust you now. Type of
you're a Browns fan and is always optimistic about the Browns, but a good team with the Chargers. Like, I don't know, man.
It's true. I am like that though, and I think I'm just wanting to see them finally prove that they're actually worth the value for fantasy football. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't know what the wide receiver room is going to look like behind Ladd McConkey. I like Trey Harris coming out of college 2 years ago. I think he should be good in year 2 as a wide receiver. Are they going to re-sign Keenan Allen? I don't know. But yeah, that wide receiver room I think needs some help. And so,
is your dog chewing on your mic, by the way?
No.
Oh,
sorry. Did you hear something?
Yeah, it was just rubbing for a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, it's probably my arms on my desk is what it probably was. But yeah, so I'm cautiously optimistic about them, but I'm also trying to be reserved about it. So.
I think they're going to be a good offense this year. So,
all right, fair enough. All right, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. They've had a roller coaster of an offseason, I feel like. Started off big with signing Kenneth Walker on day 1 of free agency. Kind of shook the world a little bit there. Came back and signed Justin Fields as a quarterback. And then eventually, before the draft, re-signed Travis Kelce to an extension. It feels like a 1-year deal, even though it's a 3-year deal. But we'll see what happens with it. What do you make of this offense? And do you think Patrick Mahomes will be back in time for week 1?
Probably not backward. I mean, I don't know. I think that Justin Fields is a fine piece to plug in there on that offense, and hopefully he'll do okay. I think adding Kenneth Walker was a home run. I think signing Travis Kelce again, a no-brainer, obviously. But yeah, this running game finally has something. I think maybe before Pacheco got hurt, maybe a little bit, maybe the Kareem Hunt year, but I'm going back to maybe Jabbar Charles' time. I think this Kenneth Walker is going to be a beast in this offense.
Okay.
Obviously it's going to be injuries, contingent on that, but he's always had the talent, he's always had the explosiveness, he's always had the ability to take over games. What he's not had is an offense that's consistently create space, create scoring chances, and has favorable fronts, and not to mention he's now the RB1 with not somebody sharing the backfield. I mean, sure, there's a couple of other rookies in there, but they're not, they're just rookies. So he's going to step into a top tier scoring offense, a quarterback who, when Mahomes is in, who forces defenses to respect the run and scramble. A tight end who still commands, defense's attention, a scheme that, thrives on efficiency and chunk plays. I think this is the first time in his career that the environment matches the talent. As long as he stays healthy, I think the sky's the limit for Kenneth Walker in this offense.
No, yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like I'm at the point now where I have to seriously consider, is Kenneth Walker in the consideration for RB1 for fantasy football next year?
No.
I think that there can be a path for it. What'd you say?
Don't be ridiculous.
I'm not being ridiculous. I feel like there's a path where it's very, very possible, especially if somebody like Patrick Mahomes doesn't necessarily start the year. He could be the main focal point of that offense in those first couple weeks of the season. And so I think there is a world where Kenneth Walker could be RB1. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's making me consider it as he's now in this offense. And so overall, I like what the Kansas City Chiefs have done this offseason. They've really set themselves up to have flexibility, whether or not Patrick Mahomes needs time to heal to start the season or not. But yeah, I think that offense should be dynamic, and I would be very much targeting Kenneth Walker early in the drafts.
You're saying RB1 in his career, 20. So he's 18, 19, 27, and 22. So that's a huge jump. Huge,
massive. I'm strongly considering it.
I think I'll have a good year. I don't think it'll be RB1, but
okay, fair enough. Well, do you think it'll be top 5?
No.
Okay.
Top 12.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. All right. Well, let's talk about this last team in the AFC West. That would be the not Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders. They made some key additions this offseason by bolstering that offensive line with signing Tyler Linderbaum to the largest center contract in the history of all contracts, it seems like. They signed Kirk Cousins to be a quarterback. Will it be quarterback 1 to start the year or quarterback 2? Who knows? But then they also signed some key role pieces like Connor Hayward to fill that fullback / utility piece in the offense. Yeah, and that's pretty much all that they did. The one thing that I guess I'm most focusing on this year for the Raiders is one word, which is called growth. I want to see this offense grow from being just complete garbage last year to being competent. If they can take steps into that, then I will feel really, really good about a lot of players' outlooks going into next year and feel really good about this team moving forward. So that's kind of where I'm at with it all. The one thing that I didn't like is how they didn't address wide receiver really in free agency or the draft. There's a lot of question marks there, I think. But yeah, overall, I feel like they've raised their floor, which is all that you can ask for. So what do you think of the Raiders heading into next year?
Their best addition was Max Crosby for sure. So no. Tyler, what a weird
addition by subtraction by addition.
Yeah, right. So dumb. Tyler Linderbaum obviously is, I think, the most important addition, and it's not close. He's a kind of offensive lineman who changes everything without ever touching the football. Other than snapping, of course. He touches the damn it. Yeah, of course he does. I'm an idiot. But he brings elite communication. He brings leverage, elite athleticism for the position, a stabilizing force, both in the run and passing game. Ashton Genty is a huge beneficiary of this pickup for sure. Yep. Linderbaum's going to be the anchor for the Raiders, and probably the guy they'd be missing for a very long time. He's going to make the quarterback better. He's going to make the running backs better. He makes the entire offense more efficient. I think great pickup. Kirk Cousins probably will start and will take on that mentor role with his twin son. And Fernando Mendoza. But I mean, little weird that they didn't take a receiver anywhere, really of significance. But 2027, it looks to have some really, really good receivers. And
Smith.
Dude, that'd be crazy. I low key, I would hate it because of the team. But if he went to the Jets and played 1 year with his cousin Geno Smith, I think that'd be pretty fun. So.
That would be fun. Yeah.
But I don't want him on the Jets, so I don't know. And they need a quarterback, so it's not going to happen. Yeah,
I agree with you. I feel like this was a good offseason for the Raiders. I'm excited to see how Tyler Linderbaum really helps shape that offense. Again, I feel like the only two pieces I would be targeting would be Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty moving forward. Maybe if you want to take a risky pick in dynasty drafts and Fernando Mendoza, that's fine. But those would be the only two pieces that I would move forward with. I think you can take some late round flyers on guys like Deontay Thornton or Jack Besh and see what happens, but I wouldn't really count on them for a whole lot. So yeah, let's take another break and then we'll jump into the NFC.
Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to sportsmemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. Sportsmemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
I do not have a QR code for sportsmemorabilia.com, but that's
we'll get one. Real quick, drop me a guitar riff.
All right, let's do it.
We got some breaking news.
Wah, 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 wah. What's going on?
Breaking news: the Dolphins and running back Devin Achane have agreed to a 4-year, $68 million extension.
Wow.
So that key piece in the offense is staying for a long time.
He will be run into the ground. But good for him.
For $68 million, run me into the ground, baby.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Great for him. He'll be the only piece in that offense. So let's be real.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with the Bears for the NFC North. They made some moves this offseason by signing Scotty Miller, Case Keenum, Jed Wills, former Browns player. There's a lot of former Browns players. They even signed Devin Bush, former Browns player. Overall, I feel like it was okay of an offseason for them. Yes, they added a little more depth in wide receiver with Scotty Miller, signed a veteran quarterback to back up Caleb Williams, and kind of bolster the defense and the offensive line with some depth pieces. Overall, I feel like this is bode well for one person, maybe two in particular, and that would be Rome Odunze and Luther Burden. I feel like the wide receiver room is now theirs for the taking, and somebody's going to emerge as wide receiver one in that room, and I'm excited to see who it is. Overall, I'm excited about this team. They looked really good last year, and Colston Loveland, I think, should be a good piece for them too moving forward. So I'm very excited about this offense.
Yeah, I was already excited about the offense. I don't think free agency really did anything here. I mean, they added Jed Wills, and that's a negative. So Jed Wills is a freaking bum. A bum left tackle, the laziest piece of crap I've ever seen in the NFL. He doesn't deserve a contract, and he's somehow with the Bears. And they're going to probably cut him after week 2 because he's garbage. So, I just had my notes under Jed Wills says that this guy sucks. So,
underline.
The offense looks good. I think Luther Bird is going to take control of the wide receiver one personally.
Interesting.
Colston Loveland looks great. Obviously, you got Swift there, and Caleb Williams, who looked to have a great sophomore season last year. So
yeah, he did. Yeah, I'm curious because I'm more leaning Rome Odunze is going to be the wide receiver to take over as wide receiver one. What makes you think Luther Burden will do it?
I just think Luther is more versatile and he'll get the ball more. I think I think Rome is the outside target. He might get more receptions. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. More touchdowns, more long,
sure. Yeah,
plays.
Big plays,
but Luther's going to be the guy who's short intermediate. He's going to be on screens. Who's going to be in the middle of the field, slant, stuff like that. And I think that in a Ben Johnson's offense, he's going to be gold. So especially in year 2.
That's fair. I can see it. All right, let's jump into team number 2 here, the Detroit Lions. They made some moves, signing Isaiah Pacheco, Tyler Conklin to help with that offensive line, and Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves. The rest of it was really bolstering that defense. And so overall, it was like, okay, you try to fill a hole with David Montgomery leaving, with Isaiah Pacheco, who runs really hard, has a lot of heart. I don't know if they're the same type of runner. But yeah, overall, I feel like they're okay in their offseason. I'm excited to see what happens with what's his face at running back being the running back one now.
Gibbs,
yes, Gibbs, thank you. So I think he could be a really, really good running back this year and really just exceed all expectations, even though they're already high. But yeah, what do you think of the Lions offseason so far?
Garbage. Who cares? I mean, Isaiah Pacheco, he's an irrelevant player now after his injury. Tyler Conklin, nobody, and Teddy Bridgewater was a high school football coach before he came back. So I could care less. I want to move on.
All right.
I think they'll be good for fantasy, but I don't care about this crap. So
yeah, that's fair. All right, to the Packers we go. They lost a lot of wide receivers, but they signed Sky Moore. Do you remember him, Ryan Mossor?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so wide receiver nobody cares about. They signed Tyrod Taylor as quarterback 2 for them, and then the rest of it was really all defense. And so they lost a lot. They tried to recuperate. I guess the big question for me is, what does this team and this offense specifically look like next year? I don't know if you want to try and tackle that because I'm just feeling a little lost from it all.
I don't know. Again, these additions I could care less about. Sky Moore, the only thing that he was ever good at was during the pre-draft interview process for the Chiefs. The reason they drafted him is because he made 10 for 10 shots on the basketball hoop on the back of the door. Okay. They actually talked about how they thought, wow, he made all 10. He's super athletic. Stupid. Yeah. So dumb.
That's
so dumb. That's what I've heard. I don't know. Yeah. So one of the main reasons, I mean, like, wow, no one's ever hit 10 for 10. He's, whatever. Tyrod Taylor, good backup, whatever. And they needed some defensive reinforcements for sure. They had a good defense last year, but I mean, they lost to the Browns because their defense wasn't good, and that's embarrassing. So, yeah. So I don't know. I think this offense will be fun. I think it'll be a lot of fun actually. But in terms of free agency, really nothing changes. So
yeah, I feel like the winners from this is clearly Josh Jacobs, big winner from this.
Sure.
He's going to be a huge focal point for that offense again. And then I think Jaden Reed is also going to be a big piece for that offense moving forward.
I don't know. We'll see. It's just a toss-up of receivers right now. So, yeah, I mean, obviously they got thinner. They got rid of Dontavian Wicks. They got rid of Romeo Dawes, but they still have Christian Watson. They have Jaden Reed. They have Matthew Golden, who's a first-round pick who sucks. So, I don't know. It's just who's going to be that wide receiver one. I'm not gambling on any of the Packers receivers this year. I think they all will have a role and all will be relatively good. I don't know who's the best one. So
that's fair, and we will wait and find out.
Yeah.
All right, so let's bring it in home here with the last team from the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings. They had somewhat of a crazy offseason. They were fired their GM after this whole debacle about J.J. McCarthy came out. They ended up signing Kyler Murray after he got cut from the Cardinals. They signed Carson Wentz back again, and that was about it, really. They really just focused on the quarterback room, which frankly, I think really was the main focus that they needed to focus on. And so, yeah, Kyler Murray, let's talk about him. How do you think he's going to impact this offense?
He's bringing this team to the playoffs next year, baby.
Whoa, you heard it here first.
Kyler
Playoffs.
Kyler Murray is the entire identity now of this. What the hell is this great? Oh, my God.
That was good. Okay, yes. Mossor is now leading the train for the Minnesota Vikings to make the playoffs.
Of course, Justin Jefferson is the heart, but I mean, Kyler Murray is now going to be the centerpiece. He's going to be the engine, the spark, the bailout plan. I mean, JJ McCarthy, I told everyone for 2 years, dude is garbage. He the only reason he was good is because he knew what defenses were running because they cheated. So Jesse Minter should be great in Baltimore as well because he was a part of that team and cheated as well. But he brings, Kyler Murray, yeah, he's short, but he's going to bring elite mobility, off-script playmaking, a fantasy-friendly rushing floor. I think this offense is finally competent. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, all of them are huge. They're going to benefit greatly from this because they finally have a guy who can actually throw them the damn ball. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like this makes the floor for that offense a lot higher than what it's been in years past. And Justin Jefferson is finally back in the wide receiver one conversation now that he has an actual NFL quarterback. Right. So should be exciting to see.
They did sign Wentz as well, and I did like Wentz in the offense when he was healthy, but then agreed. So we'll see. So
yeah, and since Kyler Murray has a little bit of history with injuries, I like the insurance there with Carson Wentz. All right, we're going to jump over to the NFC South. All right, we'll start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They signed Jake Browning. They signed the big running back Kenneth Gainwell. Then the rest was about all the defense. So my big takeaways from this, big winners are Bucky Irving and Emeka Egbuka, and that's about it. I don't know what else you have to say about it, but yeah, I think those are the two clear winners. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm nervous about Bucky a little bit. There's still some concerns about his injuries, even now. And I think Kenneth Gainwell is going to eat some targets. He's great in the passing game. He's just a useful football player. He's smart. He's versatile. He can handle the passing down work. And I don't think he's going to take over a backfield, but I think this is the year. It's either put up or shut up for Bucky. It's either Bucky's going to come out and he's going to be Bucky from his rookie year, or he's just going to get mixed in the fold and we'll never hear of Bucky Irving again. So it's definitely a major year for him. I do love Bucky. I have him in a lot of my dynasty leagues, and I am hoping for the best. I think the addition of Ted Hurst is also going to be great for Emeka Egbuka as well. They lost Mike Evans. Ted Hurst is tall. He's fast. He'll be the outside guy. Obviously, it's a little crowded now with Jalen McMillan, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, and now Ted Hurst. But I mean, I think Baker benefits from this. I think this team got better, which I'm excited about, especially on the defense. Ruben Bain Jr., dude, holy crap, So
yeah, I agree with you. I think this defense should be a lot better. This offense, I think, should be moving in the right direction. I feel like I was more bullish on Bucky Irving until you mentioned his injury concerns and Kenneth Gainwell also taking targets from him in the passing game. And so I'm now
if Bucky is healthy, I'm fine with it. But I'm pretty sure I saw reports today that they're still concerned about his injury. So that makes me nervous for sure. So
let's see how it goes when we check back in again in July and August and see where we go from there. But yeah, overall, I do like this team moving forward. The offense should be somewhat explosive again. I think losing Mike Evans might be a big blow, but somebody like Igbuka can really step in. And
Evans was out pretty much all year last year anyway. So
that's true too. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk to the Atlanta Falcons now and see how they're doing. Hello. First of all, they had, I said 2. That's why. Okay. Ignore me. I'm getting tired over here.
Oh, Lord.
They had a busy offseason. They hired a new coach. They signed Tua Tagovailoa. They signed another B. Robinson. They signed Jahan Dotson. They signed Zacchaeus. And they signed a kicker, Nick Folk. So I guess my big question is what to make of all of this busyness.
Kevin Stefanski is garbage, first of all. I've been talking crap about a lot of guys today. But yeah, that's warranted. Kevin Stefanski is the scum between my toes. So no, I don't like him at all. I don't think he'll be great in this offense. I mean, he's going to be carried by Bijan and Drake London, and then he'll look good this year. But it's not because of him or his scheme at all. It's because of the talent around him, and it's they were succeeding in lieu of him, I would say. Tua, he's going to be the centerpiece of the chaos. They don't have a quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. could have been the guy. We don't know. He's hurt now. It looks like they have replaced him with Tua, and Kirk Cousins is gone now. And Tua finally has some reliable weapons. He had Etienne and Waddle, of course, but Drake London is perceived as a top 5 receiver. Bijan is considered the best running back, if not top 2 or 3, regardless. And Kyle Pitts is still there too. So a good offense, and I think this is another one of those put up or shut up kind of years for another player, and that's for Tua. So I think Tua is going to succeed. I think Brian Robinson, the only addition he's going to bring to the team is going to screw fantasy draft Brian Robinson instead of Bijan Robinson, but he's okay for a backup role, taking over the Tyler Algier. He's physical, efficient, reliable, can play downhill. So, he's not a home run hitter, but that's fine. They did sign Jahan Dotson as well. He gets a fresh start, but, he's a whatever. Zacchaeus, another guy who was mad with the Bears last year. Nick Folk, I think, is a great addition. I think he's had a great career and is reliable as well. I have no idea. No idea what this offense is going to be. I like Zachariah Branch coming out as a rookie, but we're not talking about rookies right now, and that's hard. So, I think Kevin Stefanski sucks, and Mayfield beats them.
Yeah, I feel like the main thing to watch, as you mentioned, is like what this quarterback battle is going to look like. Is Tua going to win it? Is it going to be Michael Penix show to try it again one more time? Are they going to try and trade for somebody that's going to start? I don't know. Like, once they figure out that quarterback room, that's when I feel like, okay, then we can start piecing together what the rest of this offense is going to look like for fantasy football. And so I guess we're just in wait and see mode right now. Right. But overall, I feel like they did a lot to really not gain a whole lot for the next offseason or for the next season for offense. Yeah. And so just a lot of busy work. So
for sure.
All right. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers. They added Kenny Pickett, quarterback. They added John Mechie III, wide receiver. They added a good left tackle in Rasheed Walker, and they added some depth at running back with A.J. Dillon. I don't think he will really be relevant at all, but we'll see. But, yeah, overall, I think my thoughts are this is good for Jonathan Brooks.
You hope so.
I really do hope so. He's been sitting on my taxi squad for 2 years. I think this offense has potential to be really good. Ted McMillan was a good player last year. Bryce Young finally feels like he was turning a corner last year. We'll see what happens. A lot of these key additions are really just filler pieces. Nothing really stand out. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, Kenny Burger King hands, Pickett, his tiny little hands. He's a backup, whatever. I don't care about that. Rasheed Walker should help that running game for sure. I was surprised the contract he signed to because he was considered maybe one of the top left tackles, and I think it was only a 1 year, $8 million deal, which is not that much for a left tackle. So,
the Jen Mills contract is what it is.
Right. And I mean, they obviously just, drafted Monroe Freeling as well. So it's a stopgap for sure. But nonetheless, nothing really crazy here. I think Jonathan Brooks is a beneficiary here, but is he healthy? We don't know. He was clear for, to start in the offseason program with the Panthers, but there's still a long road ahead of proof of him being reliable before I deem him, anything of a fantasy asset right now. So, I mean, he could be the starter or he could be absolutely nothing. But, I mean, they have Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks right now and A.J. Dillon. That's about it. So, it's wide open.
It really is. And so we'll see what happens. If that offense can actually get a running game that's consistent and a little bit more dynamic, it can really help, I think, kickstart that whole offense.
That passing game's right there. I'm excited.
I agree.
Too, so,
yeah. All right, well, let's talk about the Saints. We talked about Travis Etienne a little bit earlier, but he was the big key addition this offseason. I'm curious what that running back room looks like now with Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara in it. They signed Noah Fant. They signed Zach Wilson as a sneaky QB2. I feel like they had a really good offseason overall. I think somebody like a Travis Etienne can really help bolster this offense and really make their running game and passing game a little bit more dynamic. And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what happens. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think had a very, very good offseason. I mean, Travis Etienne is going to be RB1 in this offense. I think he's going to be really, really good. Tyler Shuck is going to feast in this offense as well with Olave and now their top 10 receiver and Jordan Tyson in the drafts as well. I think they had a great offseason. Zach Wilson is a non-factor for me. He's garbage. Noah Fant, had high expectations when he was with Seattle, and then it's just with the Bengals last year didn't do well, and then we'll see what he is this year. But
he'll be a backup for Oscar Delp, so it's fine.
We'll see. Nonetheless, I think the Saints quietly, built a balanced and modern offense in one season. I think they have a dynamic running back one. They have real tight ends who can threat, a stable QB room and a defense that keeps the game close, not to mention a very good wide receiver room now as well. So I secretly really love the Saints offseason.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and do the last two divisions.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code INSIDEEDGE10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
All right, so go to w.gg. We don't have a QR code. We need to message AA. AA, if you're watching this, or Eli, who just got the assistant producer job
Nice,
for
Eli.
Inside Edge. Congratulations. Please send us the QR codes. We'll message you. But, we do not have those. So, w.gg. You can go to Inside Edge Network at Inside Edge on Twitter. Inside Edge Net on Twitter, excuse me. And you can find the links there, or InsideEdgeNetwork.com is our website. We also have a lot of merch there as well right now. Go check that out. Go check out all the different podcasts on there. You'll find links, and then you'll find all of the podcasters as well. You'll find our cute little faces on there. So go check out that as well.
Yeah. The one energy flavor that they had there was Dub Sludge. Now I kind of want to know what that tastes like. So
Dub Sludge. Interesting.
All right, NFC East. Let's jump through it. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys. They signed.
Why are there 32 teams in the NFL? What the heck?
So many. So they signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling to help fill out that wide receiver room. They signed Sam Howell as a quarterback too. They re-signed Javonte Williams. And then the rest of their moves this offseason was really defensive focused. So I think it was an okay offseason for them. Nothing really too crazy, but they filled some depth pieces that they needed to. They re-signed their running back one, which is, I think, a good thing for them because they had a good thing going last year. and they really bolstered that defense. And so overall, I think they did fine. But what are your thoughts and how are the fantasy implications for this team?
Yeah, I think the only really thing I care about is Devontae Williams re-signing. There was a lot of questions going into 2025 if Devontae Williams was going to be the guy, if they're going to draft somebody. There's rumors that Jerry Jones wanted to draft Jonathan Brooks the year before that. So they were talking about trying to get a running back for a long time. We thought maybe Omar Hampton that last year. None of that happened. And now, I went in as a Javonte Williams hater thinking, he hasn't really done anything. And he was really, really good last year. So I'm excited to re-sign him. I think he'll still be really good in that offense, especially since, defenses have to cover Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Not to mention MVS now, who's going to be a role player, but someone who stretches the field as well. So Sam Howell, whatever. But other than that, I think their defense their offense was one of the best in the league last year. And the defenses was the worst in the NFL last year. So they poured the resources into pass rush, secondary depth, front seven help, different rotational pieces. I think they're going to be a lot better this year. Yeah. It's hard for me to envision their offense getting better because they were so good last year. I mean, they were top 5 by the end of it, but they were number 1 for a very long time. And if this defense gets better, it's just going to help the offense. So I'm excited about it. We'll see what happens with George Pickens. I'm not sure if he signed the franchise tag, so he either can be on the team this year or at least can be traded, but we'll see. I don't know. But right now I really like this offense for fantasy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this should be good. Then signing Javonte Williams was the best thing that they did all season. So, all right, let's move on to the next team, the New York Football Giants. They really only did like 2 things that I felt like were noteworthy this offseason. They signed Darnell Money Mooney and Graham Gano. That was really it. I think their main focus was to just keep the band together that they have of this young nucleus core and see how they can grow into year 2. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on their offseason?
They replaced Wan'Dale Robinson with Darnell Butt Cheeks Mooney. I wrote some really mean things here about Darnell Mooney. Some very mean. Like he's a words. I'm not gonna. This is a family show, David.
He doesn't like him.
Stop it. Darnell Mooney sucks. He's
a scum between my toes.
Yeah.
He makes me vomit.
Yep, some little rascals there. I'm not a fan of Darnell Mooney. I don't think he is going to do anything against this offense. I like the fact that they kept the band together, but I mean, Malik Neighbors is coming off an injury. Cam Scatterby is coming off an injury. They did bring in a tight end who I'm blanking on. Who did they bring in tight end? That was not Theo Johnson. Yeah.
Y'all look on it. You keep talking.
You're good. Yeah. I just think that, I mean, they added some great pieces in the defense too. Arvell Reese is going to be great for this team. They got Francis Mauigoa, which is going to help the offensive line as well a ton. They're going to move him into guard. So Cam Scatterby, Tyron Tracy will, Francis Mauigoa is my top offensive lineman in this draft. So, great addition there. So
Isaiah Likely is
the biggest piece of the offense.
You're right. I don't know how I missed that.
I was like, who the hell? Who's the tight end they added? Yeah. Likely is obviously going to be a huge piece. Think Mark Andrews' role in the Harbaugh offense with the Ravens. So Likely is. How did we miss that? That's crazy.
I don't know how I missed that one. I apologize.
Darnell Mooney, but not Likely. Oh well, Isaiah Likely is a great addition as well. So very, very. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. It should be good. I'm excited to see them grow. This is an offense that I'm kind of low-key buying right now, but we'll see as we get closer to this season. So let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
That's what they say. Go Birds.
No, that's what the fans say. He's pandering to our dynasty league. He's half Eagles fans right now.
It's only one Eagles fan in there, and then a bunch of other fair weather.
And then Shane, who's a fan of all 32 teams. So,
all right. So the Philadelphia Eagles fan of all 32 teams. He just wears the NFL hat. That's all. Yep. So they added Damian Pierce as a running back depth piece. They signed Hollywood Brown to kind of help fill that wide receiver room with Elijah Moore, and also traded for Dontavian Wicks. And so they made some moves. Overall, nothing too flashy, but I think they're kind of preparing the way for a certain wide receiver to be moved out of the offense here soon. And so overall, it was really nothing crazy. They did do some moves to help that defense as well. But yeah, I think they had a meh offseason.
Yeah, they have so many people in the wide receiver room. It makes no sense. Makes no sense they would sign Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, and trade for Dontavian Wicks, and then trade up in the draft and draft Mekhi Lemon. It just, I mean, yeah, it's clear that A.J. Brown is gone from this offense, but still, like, what are they doing? They're just throwing boogers at the wall and hoping one sticks here. Damon Pierce is just a guy. Who cares? He had one decent year, and that was it. Hollywood Brown, we'll see. He's getting older. Elijah Moore, was the first pick in the second round just a few years ago. Had a great year as a rookie for the Jets, and then has just fallen off the hill. Sucked with the Browns.
Yeah,
sucked
really,
with them. If you suck as a receiver at the Browns when they need a receiver, you're bad. And then Dontavian Wicks, who I think was a promising wide receiver 4 in a offense that had a lot of people in it the room for receivers. And then, he goes to an offense that is probably more crowded now. So as much as I like him, he's going to be irrelevant. So, the only relevant guys here are going to be Smith and Lemon, and that's about it for the receiver room. Other than that, I could care less about Tank Bigsby or any of these guys that they sign. Dameon Pierce. Saquon Barkley's there. So
correct.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into the last team for the NFC East. That would be the Washington Commanders. I feel like their whole offseason was centered around building the running game to help Jaden Daniels. They signed Rashad White. They signed Jerome Ford. They did sign a tight end in Chiga Okonkwo. They signed wide receivers in Van Jefferson and Noah Brown. So they added a lot of depth, but I feel like it was very adamant. We need to bolster this run game so that way Jaden Daniels isn't running for his life and trying to carry the run game himself. And so overall, I thought it was a good offseason. I'm excited to see what happens and what the team looks like moving forward. But yeah, what do you think of it?
I really love the Chiga Okonkwo signing. I think he's the perfect modern tight end for this scheme and this offense. I think he brings exactly what they needed at tight end. Speed for sure, yard after catch ability, a seam stretching presence, and a matchup problem for linebackers. He's incredibly athletic. He didn't really jump off the page yet in terms of stats, but I think that's just because of utilization. He's going somewhere he's wanted now and actually needed. Obviously, you think of guys like Benson, who was maybe the heir apparent in that tight end room, but Chig is going to step right in. He has one of the highest RASs also for tight ends. I think he's a beast. I think this is all going to click together. Finally, he's going to be a big piece of this offense. In terms of like Van Jefferson, nobody. Jerome Ford again, and nobody. Noah Brown, he's been in the NFL for a long time. That's crazy. He's a former Buckeye.
Yeah,
Noah Brown. That's crazy. He's been in the NFL for 32 years.
He's a pro.
He was on that 1968 Rose Bowl team. No, I don't know.
Wow.
No, I didn't know if they played in the Rose Bowl in '68. I just made that up. Nonetheless, Rashad White is a guy who I think has been fading for years. They brought in guys for Jaden Daniels, but I still have questions about this running game. You think Bill Krosky might be the guy, but they still just don't have. I wanted Jeremiah Love. It sucks. It's so sad.
Yeah, it is sad. We'll talk about the Cardinals here in a second.
And then maybe Ahmad Hardy, but now that situation is crazy as well. So, do you see that?
I did not know.
Yeah, the running back out of Missouri. He's was probably. Consensus right now was he's going to be RB1 for next year. He just got shot in the leg by 3 of his former teammates in high school. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know the situation, but speculation is saying that it's, you go home and you're, people behind your back are a little jealous, so that's really sad. Hopefully he heals up a little bit, but they need a running back, and that's the main thing right now. So I just don't think Bill Krosky merit, Austin Eckler, the 45-year-old.
Is he okay?
Amputee at this point? Yeah, I don't know. So I think that's the main concern right now. Yeah, they got bodies, but I don't think those bodies are significant. So
that's fair. Yeah, I can see that, and I'm still a little bullish on Bill, but we'll see what happens. All right, we're gonna jump into the NFC West.
Let's finish that.
The NFC West, here we go. We're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals. Let's try and do this rapid fire. So they signed Kendrick Bourne, they signed Tyler Algier, they signed Gardner Minshew, and they signed Devin Duvernay. Overall, this was a very weird and interesting offseason for them. They already had a pretty crowded running back room, it felt like. And then they signed a player to be the running back one in Tyler Algier to only go and draft somebody third overall for the running back room. Yeah. So it's a weird offseason for them. I actually like the Gardner Minshew signing. I think it gives some stability to the quarterback room. I also think he can be a good person for somebody like a Carson Beck to learn from. And I actually do like the Kendrick Bourne signing as well, kind of help give some more depth to that wide receiver room as well. But overall, what did you think?
Yeah, I like the Kendrick Bourne signing. I think he's just a reliable professional wide receiver that they needed. Tough, dependable, got decently clean routes too as well, and he's going to be a quarterback friendly target. I feel bad for Tyler Algier. I feel bad. He finally goes to a team where he's not in the shadow of one of the best running backs in the NFL, and then he's now in the shadow of a prospect who is hoped to be one of the best running backs in the NFL. No, it's insane. I feel bad for him, but I mean that's the name of the game. And then you also have Trey Benson, you have James Conner. It's a weird running back room. You expect one or two of those guys probably to be on the move. But it's Jeremiah Love's job, so everyone else get in line. I do like the Gardner Minshew pickup as well. I think he's a great quarterback two. I think Jacoby Brissett's going to be really good this year. I also like Devin Duvernay. I think Devin Duvernay, excuse me. I think he's going to be a good return player, gadget piece for them. So not the best, but this offense looks to be very, very good, very fantasy friendly if they can just get everything together. And hopefully Marvin Harrison Jr., please God, have a better year. So
we'll see. Yeah, I agree with you.
Or get him off this damn team. Trade him somewhere
good or move on. Yes. Let's move into the LA Rams because this is a team that I'm not too sure what to make of their offseason. I feel like they're in a very big win now Super Bowl window with Matthew Stafford, and all of the moves that they made this offseason were really just defensive focused and really not to help Matthew Stafford at all. Did they sign anybody for offense? I genuinely don't know because I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
I don't know.
And I feel like getting another weapon would have been really, really beneficial for this team that's trying to make that Super Bowl push. And so I'm confused by their off season. It doesn't make sense to me, but what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like they kind of stayed where they are by design. I don't think they necessarily neglected the team. I think it was intentional. It wasn't oversight. I think that the Rams believe they have their quarterback set for the next few years. Obviously, they drafted a first-round quarterback thinking that he might be the future, but he's not right now. Their running back room is set. Their wide receiver room is elite. Their tight end room is stable, and I think their offensive line is good enough. So instead of tinkering and messing around with their team, they froze that offense and rebuilt the other side of the ball. And I think that's where they lacked last year for sure. I think the defense wasn't as great as they wanted it to be for sure. So, winners are obviously, the offensive players because they don't have any competition. So, we'll see if Devontae Adams is going to be a part of this team. And with the status with Puka as well as he, I think he's out of the program or whatever, he got some help, sought some help. So, for some incidents that he had, but, in light of that, if, everything's fine, I think this offense is just, stepping into the next, from last year into this year, pretty much the same, just really good and efficient. So I'm tired. I cannot put these thoughts together right now.
Same. So let's finish this. Moving to the Super Bowl winners, the Seattle Seahawks. They signed Rashid Shaheed back to be on their team again because he was really dynamic with them for that playoff push, and they signed a running back in Emmanuel Wilson to kind of help give some depth to that. Besides that, it was all just defense. So overall, the winners I feel like were the players that were already there. Rashid Shaheed is a winner because he stays in that offense and can kind of continue to grow in it. Jackson Smith and Jigba is still going to be good. Manuel Wilson should get some touches, so I feel like there's some good RB2 value there. But overall, that's about it. What do you think?
I really like Emmanuel Wilson. I don't know if I like him in this offense. I feel like he last year showed glimpses that he could be the RB1 when Josh Jacobs was out with the Packers. And I just don't, it sucks that he's in this situation again because of course they overdrafted a running back in the first round. Insane. Rashid Shaheed, I think that's exact, wide receiver that they needed to keep for sure. I mean, he's pure, unfiltered, he's got field tilting speed. We saw that obviously in the playoffs. He's got vertical juice, return value. I like it. And then I think, Emmanuel Wilson is a smart and, a low cost running back 2 insurance policy. So I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. All right. Last but not least, the San Francisco 49ers, they made a big move in signing Mike Evans this year. They also signed Christian Kirk, who I feel like flew under the radar a lot, and really also beefed up that offensive line because that team had a lot of injuries last year. And so I think that's really good. Overall, I'm very excited to see what Christian Kirk and Mike Evans look like next to each other in the offense. It should be really, really good for helping that offense grow, really good for Brock Purdy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they probably benefited the most out of anyone. I think. I mean, Mike Evans is the cream of the crop for sure. The absolute nuclear addition that they needed. I think him in this offense should be borderline illegal. He's going to bring red zone dominance, contested catch mastery, veteran precision. I think a wide receiver 1 skill set that doesn't need 150 targets, and in a room last year that was so volatile because of injuries. I mean, man, it was so awful. Now they have I get Mike Evans was also hurt last year, but he's been proven time and time again that he's just so reliable. 1,000-yard seasons every year until last year when he finally got hurt a little bit. But hopefully he's healthy now and everything's fine. He's gonna be a true boundary alpha for that team, and he's gonna win even when the play around him isn't perfect. So I mean, this is a fantasy wide receiver 1 landing spot. I think he's going to be a top. I'll be conservative and say top 10, but he's gonna be really good this year. So and then Christian Kirk is a perfect complement as well. Get a body in there. He's fast. He's got slot versatility, route precision, yard after catch ability. I like the pickup for sure. And then the defense got the rest, which is the point. They needed to bolster that defense for sure. So.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, well, that will wrap it all up for the New Homes, New Value edition of this podcast. If you are rocking with us and liking what we're just putting out here for fantasy football here in the month of May, which is crazy, and nobody should be really listening to fantasy football in the month of May, but you are, so thank you. Go ahead and give us a follow on all of our socials. You can find us at The Commish Couch, and you can find us everywhere that you get your podcasts as well. So go ahead onto Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Boom Player, wherever you're at. Just turn on our automatic downloads and you will be with us wherever you are. Mossor, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, before we move on, I want to take a moment to thank our show sponsor, Mossor Moments Photography, which, if you don't already know, is my business that my wife and I run together, my wife, Hallie. Mossor Moments Photography is our husband and wife wedding photography team based right here in Cleveland. For the past 10 years, Hallie and I have had the privilege of photographing more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond. Every single one of those weddings was shot together, just the two of us working side by side, capturing the day as a true team. What we care about most is telling the real story of a wedding day, the genuine moments, the emotions, the little interactions that actually matter years later. When we want couples to feel comfortable, natural, and completely themselves in front of the camera, and we approach every wedding with that mindset. No stiff posing, no forcing, no forcing smiles, just honest, meaningful images that feel true to who you are. Cleveland is home, but our inspiration comes from everywhere we've traveled and every couple we've met. And whether it's a backyard ceremony or a full-scale destination wedding, we bring the same warmth and same consistency and the same passion to every single shoot. If you want to see our work or learn more, you can visit us at MossorMomentsPhotography.com. That's MOSSOR, momentsphotography.com. We did David's wedding. We had a wedding last weekend, and we have 2 more this weekend, so we're starting to get busy. So, go check us out. We're grateful. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up season 2, episode 13, the 26th overall episode of the Commissioner's Couch Fantasy Football Podcast. Another one in the books. And honestly, nights like this are why we keep the show going. Free agency always sneaks up on people, but when you really sit down and break it all apart, you realize just how much the league shifts before a single rookie ever steps onto the field. Tonight, we walk through new homes, new values, every major free agent addition, every sneaky death move, every roster shakeup that's going to matter when you're setting your lineups this fall. Some teams rebuilt their identity, some teams patched holes, some teams took big swings, and some just kind of existed. But every move changes something, and this is the part of the offseason where the sharp fantasy players separate themselves from the pack, because this is where you find the edges, this is where you find the sleepers, this is where you find the guys who quietly stepped into bigger roles while the rest of your league wasn't paying attention. Next week we are going to continue this offseason grind because the draft is done, free agency done, the dust is settled, and it's time to put all of it together. Next Thursday, we are running our rookie Superflex mock draft live on the show. Full board, real picks, real strategy, real conversations about how these rookies stack up with their new landing spots, with the depth charts, and with the new opportunities that they are handed. If you are in dynasty leagues, if you are rebuilding, if you're trying to get ahead of your league mates before training camp even starts, that is the episode you do not want to miss. Superflex is a lot of fun, guys. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. For David Kahoun, follow him at David Kahoun 24. I'm Ryan Mossor. You can find me at Dynasty CLE. This has been the Commissioner's Couch Fantasy Football Podcast. We will see you next week. Rest up, stay sharp, and keep grinding that tape.
Good luck.